Well, the frustrating thing about these magical moments, called the moments of the interstice, it's what I call them, when the fabric of reality, which is itself more regimented, rules-based, norms-based, and so forth, kind of finds a hook in the oceanic experience of the phenomenal NI world, or vice versa. It's the phenomenal NI world that finds a hook in the fabric of reality, where an interstice opens up, and often the NI dominant experiences a surge of energy that allows them to become more impactful, more productive, to feel that their life has this surge in meaning, accepting that it doesn't last forever, but can happen many times throughout the day. One of the things that's frustrating about it is that often the NI dominant doesn't see that, because it's not experience. If you like, it's not a content of experience, it's more part of the form of structure of experience. So it's not like, we're walking around in a park or in the city or whatever, and suddenly we see an interstice. It doesn't happen like that. As I've said before, it's something that we feel, like this surge of energy. One consequence of that is that it isn't really possible to write, say, like a concrete how-to guide on how to get better at grasping, at seizing interstices, so that one can become more attuned, more of a flowy kind of person, and ultimately more productive as an NI dominant than one would be if one were not to seize those interstices, because these interstices are not really seized deliberately. It's one of those difficult liminal notions where you can't say it's completely unintentional, of course. Otherwise it'd just be a matter of chance and would not even deserve the, being called a concept or even a notion. It's not purely a matter of chance. You get more access to interstices and more investment of interstices by cultivating a certain way to be. But you don't just make them happen out of nowhere, right? So it's what's intentional in the process is not necessarily the seizing of the interstice. It's more the cultivation of a stance towards the world, which is deeply, deeply steeped in acceptance. Acceptance of the world and acceptance of yourself, which there are two parts of the equation. There's the left side and the right side of the equation. You are, as a human being, and as possibly an NI dominant, in this case, we're especially interested in NI dominance. You are a mind and a body. You are a psyche and a soma. You have an internal life, a rich internal life, and you have an external life. We use these words to separate out concepts, to make explanation easier, right? It's much easier to explain things by making use of these generalized concepts. But they can also obscure the fact that there's no real opposition at the end of the day. There's no real opposition between mind and body, or between psyche and soma, psyche and the body. Because as a self, as an I, right? I am my mind, just in the same way that I am my body, right? It's not like there is me as a mind and me as a body. The two are deeply, deeply intertwined, okay? So that, if you like, acceptance of a profound acceptance of the oceanic nature of your inner experience, not faking or feigning acceptance, real acceptance, is automatically going to be an acceptance of your bodily reality, and of the fact that your bodily reality is subjected to different sets of laws and rules and norms. And usually when the NI dominant feels like they're not at home in external reality, what we call the severed form of alienation, ineluctably, it also means that they're not at home in their own phenomenal mental life. Because if they were, they would be at home also in the world. If you like, we have no choice but to be located somewhere in the attunement between the one and the other. And it's managing to find the right kind of chord of attunement between the one and the other that provides, in many ways, the key to the spiritualizing path, to the path of individuation. Acceptance is key. And it's usually when you manage to hit that key that the opening in the fabric of reality, what I call the interstices, begin to proliferate and to be more invested by you. It's kind of like a flow, you know, you invest them because you are already propelled forward and you have no choice but to go through them because you're just inertially following the movement. But first of all, you need to set yourself in movement, and that movement needs to be organic, it needs to be natural, it needs to be the force of the wave, of the viscous sea that is your internal world. Guys, don't forget you can support me on Patreon if you'd like to, support me. I could not do it without you. I need you more than ever, so please consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is below. Don't forget also about my 2 books, The Ecstatic Soul on INFJ Life. No, this one is, The Ecstatic Soul is actually about the INFJ mind. INFJ Life, yes, but the life of the mind. This is more about the life of the INFJ in the world. As you can see, they're both soul books. So they really belong together. If you want to learn more in depth about INFJs, I really recommend you get both books. They're both linked below, Ecstatic Soul, Infinite Soul. Forgot to mention that if you join me on Patreon, you get access to our exclusive Discord server, as well as bonus video content, long formats called deep dives that I release every 2-3 weeks. Just recorded one yesterday on INFJs and inhibition. So hopefully see you there. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.